Welcome, horror fans, to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast, episode 5. We have Mike, your host, Duff, your co-host.
Hey, guys.
And returning second time in a row, Nico Wells. We decided to bring him back.
Hey, I'm back.
Yeah, he will fit perfectly for what we have in store for you.
It's right up his alley, I'd say.
We're going to be playing a game, Nico.
Oh, what kind of game?
Well, we'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
First, we will do our history segment.
Okay, excellent. Let's dive right in.
So, like always, we're going to try to keep this fun and lighthearted. Let us know if you like these. Let us if you know you like the tone of these history segments. We try to keep them something that you may have forgotten about or you may have never even heard of. This one's that exact same tone. So, this week's history segment is about arguably the most famous performer to have ever been featured in a show at Halloween Horror Nights. That would be a 48-foot-tall semi-trailer that goes by his alter ego, Robosaurus.
Ooh, Robosaurus.
Yes, inspired by the popularity of Transformers in the 80s, Robosaurus was created by inventor Doug Malewski in 1989. Robosaurus took 2 years to complete and $2.2 million to build.
Oh my goodness. I love Robosaurus. Like
you know who Robosaurus is?
I've been to quite a monster truck rally in my day.
Did you know he appeared at Horror Nights?
I did not know he appeared at Horror Nights.
Like Nico said, he was an instant star at monster truck rallies and demolition derbies around the country. In 1990, he was parodied by The Simpsons in called Truckosaurus.
Yes,
my personal favorite episode of Simpsons ever, Bart the Daredevil.
That's a great one.
Then in 1992, he starred in his own made-for-TV movie called Steel Justice.
Wait, there was a movie?
Yes, in April of 1992, and that exact same year, he made his debut at Halloween Horror Nights in the streets of New York. He would breathe fire and eat cars and crush them nightly.
And it was fantastic.
Oh yes. My goodness.
According to reports, during one of the shows of that first year, a smash car was improperly drained of its gas, leading to a giant explosion and a fire that had to be extinguished by the fire department.
That is one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. Why can't it come back?
Right? I know.
No one was injured, though, Nico, luckily.
Oh, man.
And Nico wasn't worried about that. But he just wants to see him. He'd get injured to see him.
I would get injured to see Truckosaurus.
I did get to see him one year, 2006, I'm sorry. That was his final year.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
oh my goodness.
That was my first year. I got to see him, and because I did go to a monster truck show where he was there. Yeah. Seeing him from the stands versus being that close to him is completely different experience.
Oh my goodness.
It is fantastic. I loved it.
Oh, wow.
Like Duff said, he returned the following 2 years and then one last time at Halloween Horror Nights, Sweet 16. You can see Robosaurus on Pawn Stars. You can see Robosaurus all over pop culture. Robosaurus is still going strong. Maybe he will end up at Halloween Horror Nights once again.
Maybe.
I would love to see him.
Yeah, it would be great to see him come out for that.
All right, that wraps up our history segment. Then we're going to move on to our main segment. Should we go ahead and let everyone know what the game is?
Yeah, tell us what it is, Mike.
All right, so I came up with an idea that we wanted to, I'm calling this game Hot Takes.
Hot takes.
Hot takes.
Basically what this game is we wanted a fun way to get all of our predictions of HHN30 on record before HHN29 is over, and have a fun way to kind of hold us accountable on our predictions. So what we are going to do is we all came up with 10 hot takes. And we're going to kind of play category style. So the more, if you have the same prediction as someone else, so if you're super vague and you say, I predict there's going to be a fog machine used in Halloween Horror Nights 30, and someone else also has that, then I'm just going to throw it away and you don't get any points. So the idea is to try to be as specific as possible. Whoever has the most things that come true is going to win a $100 gift card.
Ooh.
Yeah, to Dixie Stampede.
Oh no, breaking my heart again.
Nico, I know you love Dixie Stampede.
I do. Yeah. I went to it even after it closed.
That's another story. We'll let him tell you later. It's a very long story.
Oh man,
or else I would have him tell it now. All right, let's move on to the game. Before we get started with our 10, we have a couple of, I think we all have a couple of honorable mentions while we're coming up with hot takes.
Absolutely.
All right, who wants to go first and just list all your or 2 or 3, how many do you have?
I'll take on.
Okay.
So my first one's kind of more of a left off the list because I want it, and it's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the big IP houses, and I'm looking this year, Ghostbusters, and like how much more fun over scary that is.
Yeah.
And like, what else could you do that with a big franchise?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my absolute favorites, possibly favorite ever. How about a Back to the Future house?
Oh,
yeah,
I was
there you
thinking
go.
of something
How
like
nice would that be?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's not going to happen. That's why I left it off the list. But it would be a blast.
You never
I know some people wouldn't be too happy because the lack of horror, but we're already getting ones without the horror anyway. So
you never know.
why not?
You
could see
never
it.
know with
You could
something
see it
like
happening.
that because I mean they let him have it enough, and Warner Brothers used it enough in Ready Player One, and we've already seen Spielberg products already in there with the old Jurassic Park haunt. That was at Islands of Adventure.
Any more, Duff?
Yeah, I do have a couple more actually. The next one I'm going to go with is another house that I do think will happen eventually. I just don't think it's next year, which I may talk about later depending on what we get into. But it is a Gremlins house.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not the first or last to say this. It's almost inevitable at this point. I'd say that at one point we are going to get a Gremlins house. And I just left it off because I don't think it's next year, basically. That's all.
Okay, yeah, I could probably see that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I guess you have any more?
I do have one more.
Oh, okay.
One more. And this one is a serious hot take that I'm not confident in, so I left it off.
Okay.
No Lagoon show next year.
Ooh.
No.
Oh, I don't.
Just think about the finances involved, how expensive that show is, and what it's going to bring in. I don't know if that's worth it, but I left it off the list, so remember, I'm not confident.
But all
whatsoever
that
that's
technology
gonna
is already installed, so it's going to be, I mean, it's really nothing more than doing that, unless they add a lot of pyro to the show.
Of everything that came out of Halloween Horror Nights 29, the Lagoon show was by far the most popular, I would have to say, and I think it will
I wouldn't
return.
disagree with that.
I think it will return.
Yeah, it's a good thing you left that off your list.
I thought everyone was on the same page of that, so I left it off my list, thinking that everyone would agree it would come back.
Well,
Yeah.
I do. That's why it's off the list.
Well, how about you go to next, Nico, for honorable mentions, real quick?
So, honorable mentions, something that Universal will never do, but I wish they would do, would be Hogwarts Express overlay.
Okay.
So basically, you would just take the train over, and there would be like, something spooky, Harry Potter-y. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan either, so like Harry Potter and Stranger Things are black spots for me. But the things that like suck your soul out, Dementors, thank you.
Death Eaters.
I couldn't remember the name of that.
Dementors and Death Eaters are different.
Like have the train take over because like it's just a screen, so they could easily like program something else in there. I think they could. Hogwarts overlay is something I would like to see. Like the train goes there and then back. Real actors on Men in Black. That's a little outstretched for me.
Okay.
It'd be cool to see like maybe some like real like aliens or something scarier come here. And Islands of Adventure again. But I don't think they'll do that because it's the 30th, but it would be cool to see like Islands of Adventure and Universal both have a big mega one. But I do have some stuff like on my main list that is a little bit related to that.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, you guys took the serious route on your honorable mentions. I have some honorable mentions here.
Oh boy. Let's hear
So, my first one is due to the success of Universal Monsters, Halloween Horror Nights 30 will have a sequel house that will feature the Brute Man, the She-Wolf of London, and the Mole People.
Oh man.
Okay, so my second one, along that same lines, is inspired by the West Coast style of Dark Horizons. A secret bar will be hidden in Men in Black Alien Attack.
What else does the West Coast style include?
We will do a full review of that later. We'll just leave it there.
Oh, please do. Please do.
And this one is actually kind of serious. Building off the success of a house that featured primarily characters of color at Halloween Horror Nights 29, Universal will keep the momentum going with a maze based on the brilliant HBO Spanish-language horror comedy Los Espookies, starring Julio Torres and Fred Armisen. Have any of you guys seen Los Espookies?
There's a show called Los Espookies.
It is hilarious.
Well, Fred Armisen's on it.
Pause this podcast and watch the first episode.
I actually listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast.
Then go watch
You can
the
do
first
both at the
episode.
same time.
You can do both. You can multitask and do both. Los Espookies is brilliant. Julio Torres is... I stand Julio Torres. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So let's get on to the real
Let's
list.
do it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, I might as well start
Yeah.
again.
All right, Duff, what do you got?
So this is the one I actually feel most confident about.
Okay.
Candyman House.
I was
okay.
actually going to put this on my list.
Oh.
I'm glad that I left it off.
Okay.
Candyman House.
We talked about the ones that I thought Duff would have earlier before we started recording, and I almost said it, but yes.
I think for a hot take list, this is the least hot takey one.
No, I think we know it's coming.
Jordan Peele, Candyman reboot, next June. Come on, it's happening.
Is it produced by Universal?
Yes, it is.
It is,
It's,
okay.
Candyman is a Universal property.
Okay, so then it's coming.
Yeah.
Then it's pretty much official.
Oh, yeah. I could, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for that coming.
How about you go next?
Alrighty. My number one is a throwback to when I was thinking of this list, I was thinking of like 30 years, like what stretches over 30 years of Horror Nights. And one thing that popped in my mind was also 30 years of Universal. So I'm thinking of Super Deadly Double Dare, a maze based on Double Dare or any other like Nick game show that was recorded in Florida, like a maze done in that style, where like you go in and then things just start going awry once you're in there. Like instead of getting slimed, like you see people getting acid poured on them or something like that.
So this is why we had Nico on this podcast, because there was a house called Run that sounds very similar to this, honestly.
Oh, really?
Just
Nico
kinda
wouldn't know
without
this.
without the Double Dare kind of.
Yeah, without the Double Dare, but it was a game show, and it did require guests to do crazy things. But yes, so this is the perfect reason why we have someone on here who's a little bit of a newbie, so we can get amazing things like this. But yes,
If they bring back a Run sequel, do we give them points for that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think if there's a Run sequel, we'll
Which
give
is
you
very
points for it.
possible to be
But like
honest.
I could definitely see some like type of game show going in, like for the 30th. I am very confident in something like this.
okay.
happening.
Okay. All right. So we'll give you points for Double Dare / Run sequel. I say we put it on the board.
All right.
All right. Mine is a very serious one, which is not like me. But due to below predicted crowds at Halloween Horror Nights 29, I believe Halloween Horror Nights 30 will return to its second weekend September start. I believe we won't have that first weekend of September. We'll go back to the normal.
Okay.
I feel like Halloween Horror Nights was so long this year. It really has cut down on the crowds, but I bet the cost was very expensive for them to run it. I bet they would like that tightness that Halloween Horror Nights 28 had. They thought it would. I've definitely noticed that they are changing the prices as we speak. It was supposed to be all of, other than Saturdays, are the only one that have high prices now. Everything else has been gone to the $67.99 on online. Before it was going to have some dynamic pricing. That's all gone. Now it's just Saturdays is more expensive. So they're definitely trying to get people there. I don't think it's as popular as they expected, and I don't think it has anything to do with people not liking Halloween Horror Nights. I just think it was just so long this year, and so I think
it just spread out.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to put it back to the second week of September.
All right, cool.
Okay, and that leads perfectly into another hot take of mine, so I'm going to take this. Guest attendance will not jump next year and will stay very similar to this year.
Okay.
And I actually think this isn't my hot take, but I believe they'll probably do very similar dates to what they did this year, and I think we'll see very similar crowds.
Okay.
I'll probably disagree with that just because it's going to be the 30th, and I feel like there's going to be a huge media blitz. Like, there's going to be a larger media blitz for this than there. I think NBC is going to try to take the Disney route and try to do so much synergy, like a Today Show synergy, and like they might even do or something at night. I mean, that's not one of my hot takes, but I mean, I just would disagree from a synergistic standpoint and like looking at what Comcast wants to do, and especially with Peacock coming out, we might even get Halloween Horror Night content on Peacock, which would be cool.
We probably could see
Which
that.
would be that.
Is that one of your hot takes?
No, but I'm just saying in retaliation to that. Like, I would respectfully disagree that because it's the 30th anniversaries, people for some reason guests love anniversaries.
That's why I think it's a hot take, though. I think your average guest doesn't care about Horror Nights anniversaries. I don't think Horror Nights markets the anniversary enough, I guess you could say. They make it a big deal as they bring back icons typically, right?
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean to the general public?
But still, I still think with all the synergy now that everything is fully encompassed, like with Comcast and NBC Universal, I think they'll do a big media blitz next year and be like 30. Like, we invented this. I mean, I know they didn't really invent it, but I mean, they're the ones who made it super popular. I think attendance will spike next year. So,
all right, go ahead, Nico.
Well, mine isn't about dates or attendance. I believe that there will be a Scoops Ahoy next year.
Oh,
okay. So you're predicting Stranger Things coming back?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely seeing Stranger Things come back because there's no way that's slowing down. If it's already been there 2 years, and what's the longest wait when y'all have gone? And when I've looked at the app, what's been the longest wait?
over 200.
Yeah, it's always Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of the longest waits there in the park. So I don't really see that leaving because I think that brings in a lot of the guests for that.
And there is precedence for something staying very long. Walking Dead was around for 5 years. The Purge has come around pretty much any year it has something. It comes around very often. So it could definitely. I don't believe Stranger Things season 4 is going to release next year. I think it's going to be a couple of years, but we could see Stranger Things come back next year.
Well, do you have any hot takes related to that at all?
I don't have any hot takes.
So then I will go because I do.
Okay.
Stranger Things does not return for Horror Nights 30.
Okay.
Ooh,
all right. We have a battle right here.
And I believe, as you were saying, season 4 is not going to be out in time. They just did a house where they felt the need to cram 2 and 3 into 1. That's for a reason. They didn't do that for no reason. They could have fleshed out season 2 or season 3. But they wanted to cram them together. You're not going to have new Stranger Things content before next year. I don't think it comes back as big of a property it is. I think we could see it return later, just not next year.
Okay, fair.
One thing I forgot to mention before we started this game is we have not really looked at any rumors, any gossip. We know nothing. You've looked a little bit.
I keep up to date.
We don't have any insider knowledge.
No insider knowledge.
Yeah,
insider knowledge.
We have not got Blake Braswell drunk on craft beer and picked his brain. That has not happened yet. It might happen sometime, but that has not happened yet.
Everything we know is from public information that has been reported by maybe other people that have inside information.
It's all just fun speculation. We know nothing. We're not spoiling anything, we promise. This is all speculation. All right, so my second hot take is Halloween Horror Nights 30 will feature President Mike Pence in a show about time-traveling rockers. I predict, I'll say that one again, President Mike Pence will show up in a show about time-traveling rockers.
I could definitely see that. And then they're going to come and be like, whoa, it's Mike Pence. Because that's what they would do in those shows.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they do, yes.
Yeah. Whoa. And they would say, whoa, Celebrity X.
Does anyone else have a Bill and Ted's hot take?
I do.
Okay.
Yep, and mine is simply that they return.
Okay.
Now it will feature Trump as usual, whatever the current political situation is.
I think ours are different enough. All right, I think they're different.
I mean,
I went with President Mike Pence, and you went with President Trump. I think I think they can stay. They're very similar hot takes.
Well, they're both very possible. They could both be in it.
Yeah, they're both. I'm not saying Vice President Mike Pence.
I know what you're saying.
President
46.
President 46. President 46.
Then he gets chased on stage by Nancy Pelosi.
Well, I don't know if I want that to be my sticking point there, because
All right. Any other Bill and Ted's hot takes before we move on?
I kept mine off of there because I knew someone was going to do Bill and Ted, and I was going to stay away from that.
All right. Do we any more Bill and Ted discussion, or we kind of talked about it quite a bit on this
Okay.
podcast?
Well, to differentiate ours, because I'm not going to stick with the Trump one and the whole who's president. Forget that.
It's more of a joke.
The DeLorean returns to Bill and Ted as Bill and Ted returns next year.
That thought
Okay.
crossed my mind. Like
Okay.
you have Doc and Marty and Bill and Ted.
It's happened multiple times, and I think it happens again next year.
Yeah, especially for the 30th, that makes perfect sense.
All right.
Your third, Nico? I believe.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
my
your
third.
third,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So my third one is that we're going to see another original Rob Zombie house
Okay.
for the 30th, especially because Rob Zombie made, the House of 1,000 Corpses, and then he made the movie after that. I think we'll see another original Rob Zombie house, especially for the 30th. That just makes perfect sense that they're going to be doing something like that that'll fit in with the media blitz.
Okay.
I could see it happen. It's not one of my hot takes, but Rob Zombie has been used in Halloween Horror Nights, mostly Hollywood a lot. He's had like 3 or 4 houses in Hollywood over the years. We've only had one, right? Well, this is our first Rob Zombie house. I believe
Yes,
I believe
it
so.
is, it
I believe
is.
this is our first
It is.
one.
Okay.
Hollywood has had a lot of them. I think 3. They had 3.
At least.
2 3D House of 1,000 Corpses mazes recently. And then they had the really old House of 1,000 Corpses. That might be a history segment one of these days. But so perfect segue for my third. Due to the popularity of Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, HHN30 will mark the return of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath to Halloween Horror Nights in some way.
Okay.
I really hope that comes true.
Now, does some way include background music?
I would say featured in a background music in a house like they did in Hollywood, where they had the Black Sabbath 3D house.
Well, I meant more just simply, if they are playing it in the park loop, are you going to take
No,
those?
I would
okay.
say it has to be like a poster type thing. It's not going to be in the
They
park.
have to have a
Yeah.
physical presence.
Or a Post Malone type
Yes,
thing.
yes. like a reason, yeah. So like a scare zone, like we've seen with, or a house, Black Sabbath house. I believe Ozzy will make his return to Halloween Horror.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, he's back in the limelight again. He's on that Post Malone Travis Scott song, which is great, by the way. I love that. to
Yeah, you've
death.
talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. Oh, I'm a big Ozzy fan, so it's good to hear new stuff from him, and still sounds pretty good from that.
All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
This space.
So I think a lot of people have been saying they think it's going to be anniversary. They're going to go back to more originals. Maybe we'll only see 2 IPs, 3 IPs, no IPs. I think we're going to see a 50-50 again.
Okay.
10 houses, 50-50 split.
Okay, so-
I don't think they're changing that.
Now, did we actually have a 50-50 split this year,
Well,
or was it 60-40? It was supposed
yeah.
to be 50-50.
Yeah, it was supposed to be.
But
50.
it turned out to
I think
be
they go to the actual 50-50 next
What
year. I should say.
what caused it not to? be
Tooth Fairy was supposed to be the 5th original.
Which Us took its place.
Us took its
Okay,
place.
well, I'm
last
glad
night.
that happened. In my opinion.
All right. So, Nico, you're 4th.
So, my number 4 is if you look at how 30 is written in Roman numerals, it's an X, and it's also a third X.
Okay.
I predict that there will be an NC-17 rated house next year where no one under 18 is allowed.
Well, that is the
X.
hottest of the hot
X.
takes I think we could.
I think
ever
a
predict.
true hot house could appear next year because of this.
Are we talking
Like
Frontal?
Should we let him elaborate? On
It
what he
very
wants?
well. So I'm thinking of something where it just goes really close to the edge, or it's super gory and super violent, and it gets to a point where it's super sexual. And that
So
case.
something themed around
triple X,
the extreme.
something to
The
do
Ron
with
Jeremy
triple
experience.
X. Yeah, or like that, or the
Okay.
Peter North experience, or anything like that.
Are you predicting nudity?
I am predicting nudity. I am predicting that we'll see nudity. That's why it's no minors coming in.
All right,
Because it's
that's where you
XXX.
that's where you lose me. I
Yeah.
don't think they will
18 and up, I very well could happen. I don't know. That's my hottest take, but
All right.
That's pretty hot.
yeah,
Okay.
it
Quite
is,
literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go from the most outlandish to something that we think probably most people think will happen. I picked this particular one just to differentiate any others on the list. The icon of the Usher will make his return to HHN in some sort of way.
Okay.
I believe there will probably see all the icons return, and I believe the Usher will be included in the groups of icons.
Which one was the Usher?
Like the movie theater, like an usher in a theater.
Okay. What was the man on the Pennyworth? The Pennyworth, the tall bicycle.
That was the
For Islands of Adventure.
that was the caretaker.
Oh, the caretaker.
Yes.
I hope we see him. He's not on my list, but I hope we see him.
Now, I do have an icon-related one as well.
Oh, cool.
I think we will see all of the past icons. However, I think it'll be headed by a brand new icon.
Ah.
I think
Yeah.
they finally
Named
added to the
Triple
list.
X.
That's not much of a hot take.
I don't know
but
when's the last time they've had a new icon. 10 years?
Chance, right?
Well, she was a new icon, but she was already a character. I think it's going to be a brand new character as a new icon.
Right.
If I should clarify more.
Okay. All right. So a brand new.
So I don't
So
think... I don't
that
think
was Fear,
any-
right?
Yes. So 2010 would be...
No, we had Lady Luck after.
Oh, Lady Luck technically.
Yeah, we had Lady Luck after that.
So 2011.
We also had after that. I believe we had Bloody Mary.
I go for one of those.
Bloody Mary was... Oh, wait.
I think we had Bloody Mary after that. Let's look it up.
No, she
All
wasn't
right.
after, was she? Am I crazy?
All right, while y'all are looking that up, I'm going to go ahead and do my
Bloody Mary
fifth
was,
one.
2000...
18th event. So you're right. Okay.
2008. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
right.
She wasn't that late.
They were. It was in that range though. Okay, so go ahead and do your
Okay, so my fifth one is something, it's bringing it back to Earth. I mean, that was my shot over the moon for that one. I believe that there will be a haunt in the Fast and Furious queue next year where you end up on the ride and there's a new scenes on the ride relating to something Horror Nights related.
I'm not sure you went back to Earth with that one.
With something that's not that popular and not like really that well received, you could definitely do something like that. It could go down for a month, and they put everything in there.
I don't know.
And
It's
no
not
one
a
would
very
miss
Horror
it.
Nights thing to
No.
do.
But they
We
could.
haven't. They
But that's
usually
the
don't
thing.
touch the rides. As it's never really happened. It's
like
one
the
of
rest
those
of my
things. I
list.
think if they were going to do it, they would have done it. They don't really touch the rides.
All right. Oh, that's why it's a hot take then. So I guess all my
Good hot take.
Good hot
yeah,
take.
but I mean, think how cool that would be to have a new experience in there, and like because it's something that looks like it's easily able to be
Oh yeah, it could,
redone.
for sure.
You could definitely redo stuff, and you could even not even bring in all the big guys. You could just have like Ludacris come in and be like, "Hey, whoa, there's some ghost in here," and then you go in with there, and then one of the FBI guys is like, "I don't believe in ghosts," and he starts like shooting sheets in the wind, and then he gets picked up by a ghost and exploded.
Somehow that still sounds better than the actual attraction.
Yeah, most things are.
All right. Did you do your fifth yet, Duff?
I did my fifth, yes.
Okay, so my fifth is HHN30 will feature its first 3D house since Lunatic's Playground at Halloween Horror Nights 26.
Shivers.
3D house.
I believe we will have the return of the 3D house.
Like, is it the red and blue 3D glasses, or is it just the polarized?
It's the red and blue.
It's a red and blue.
Oh, Cedar Point did that one year.
Yeah, it's
at
not
a
too uncommon
disaster
in haunts.
transport.
They just usually aren't very good, in my opinion, and many people's opinion.
Oh,
Halloween
okay.
Horror Nights has done it many years. They've tried. None of them have been super popular.
Would that be
Lunatic's
Playground? Yeah, that was
Lunatic's Playground, I think, was probably one of the most popular that they pulled out.
Oh, that was one of my least favorite houses ever.
I know. Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
yours.
Yeah,
And 30 kind of sounds like 3D, so they could
Yeah.
try to wedge that in. I mean, that's
Like
That's,
30D.
30, 30.
Oh,
Maybe we
please.
get the Icon House,
The
Please
dirty
don't.
30.
in 3D.
What? Oh, no. It just never works for me.
All right. Do you have a 6?
Oh, yes. Sorry, that's me. I'm going to go with... I'm sorry. I'm trying to decide how to place these. I'm going to say they're going to have an additional scare zone. 6
Okay.
scare zones next
Okay.
year. I
Really?
think they have the space for it. The scare zone locations switch up a lot. I think they're going to try to make it a more intense event. Kind of go back to the way things used to be, like scare-wise, without actually doing it. Just make it feel more crowded and busy and hectic, kind of.
Okay.
And I think
Oh,
adding another
cool.
scare zone will do that.
Where would that scare zone be? Would it be where the current ones are, and then a?
Well, yeah, I think
additional
we're going to
from
get it
one?
where the current ones are. I think a good spot is right along, right by Transformers, along the wharf. I
We've
believe
had
that
scare
area is
zones
called.
there before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
exactly.
cool.
We've
That's
had
an area
scare
that's been
Okay.
used.
All right, neato.
So I mean, there are other areas that have been used for scare zones that are dormant this year, which I think one of them will be used.
Oh, cool. I would
All right.
agree with that.
Nico? Number 6?
I would say that there's going to be a Jurassic World house,
Oh,
Okay.
especially
Okay.
because Jurassic World, the next one comes out this summer, right? Comes out
that's
2020.
2020, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could
So a Jurassic
potentially see
World
this.
house comes there. We've already seen a Jurassic Park house once before, so I mean they're definitely down to do that. Yeah, I could definitely see a Jurassic World house, something original set in that universe there, where it's not really just a retelling of whatever the third movie is going to be. But I could see it definitely being Jurassic World, especially it being the 30th and being Universal's 30th. I think that would be a good one, and I think that would bring in a lot of people too.
Okay.
The only problem I see with this is that the only realistic way they could pull it off is probably be animatronics, and that would be very expensive.
It is, yeah.
It would have to be maybe something where they were building animatronics for a new ride, and then they roll them out in the house, and then put them other places.
That could
I could
that makes
see
sense
that
as well.
But these animatronics would already have to be starting to be built now.
they've spared no expense. They've spared
Maybe we see
but
them
here they do
return
spare expense.
in Velocicoaster.
Oh man, I can't wait.
If
for
it
that.
does go back to islands, I think that could happen.
It could happen.
I think
Okay.
if they stick to studios, we don't see it.
All right,
Gotcha.
I could agree with that.
My number 6 is keeping with the trend of appealing to the tweens. We see Pennywise the Clown featured in Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh my
Okay,
god, that is
yeah.
such a good idea.
I think that's right
Wow.
around the Candyman.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between Candyman and Gremlins.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think
probability.
Pennywise the Clown is long overdue. I'm surprised we haven't had him yet.
Yeah, I know.
Who
He's
makes
one of
those?
those properties?
Only problem that we might see is if we do see Jack the Clown come back as kind of like the icons all come back and Jack the Clown, Pennywise the Clown and Jack the Clown might be very similar. But I do see Jack the Clown or Pennywise the Clown. If we don't see an icon, I could definitely see Pennywise the Clown become the makeshift icon of the year. He will be on all the posters, and so I'm going to kind of hedge my bets here and predict that Pennywise the Clown will return.
Yeah.
I would kind of hate to see him as the icon, but it's kind of more likely than we
Yeah.
want to admit.
I could definitely
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
If we don't see icons and we don't see 30 making a big deal about the icons of the past, we will definitely see an IP icon, I believe, and it will probably be Pennywise.
You know what? And I think you just won yourself a $100 gift card because of that one. Yeah, I think that is such a good idea, and with everything you just said, there's almost no way they don't do something like that. That's insane.
All right, Duff, do you have a number 7?
I do. I think that they're going to increase the alcohol presence next year.
Okay.
We
Oh,
talked about
nice.
last episode missing some Jello shots,
Okay.
and I don't think we're going to get back to full bars being scattered all over. I think we are going to see roaming alcohol of some sort next year, though.
Roaming
so roaming
alcohol
your
is how
hot
I'm gonna
take
put
is
it.
roaming alcohol returns to HH.
Yes.
Awesome.
Other than just the beer carts. in the line.
Yeah. So anything that's actually they are moving around, they are.
Do you have an idea for
Whoa.
what theme would be walking around?
If I had to guess, I would say they're going to be the nurses again with the Jello shots.
Jello shots.
But I'm going to stick to simply roaming.
Roaming.
So
Alcohol.
to add on, to put a hat on that hat,
Okay.
I don't think we'll see a Ghostbusters base next year, but roaming alcohol, where the alcohol is dispensed out of Potron packs. I can't say that
Proton?
word. Proton packs. Thank you.
Is that another Dark Horizons reference where they have like
where
the
jet
jetpacks?
That is cool how they have the jetpacks and then they like dispense the alcohol from the jetpack. I could see like a proton pack
Yeah.
dispensing
Yeah,
alcohol,
I
and
could
that'd
see
be a
that'd
good
be
way to
cool.
have Ghostbusters presents, especially because it's the 30th. So to put a hat on that, that'd be cool.
Okay.
I just like
Yeah,
I just thought of that. I was like, that'd be so cool.
Do you have an actual 7?
I do have an actual 7, and it's kind of what you were saying earlier about my Jurassic World idea. I think we will see another classic Universal's Monster House, but it's going to be a testing ground for Universal Creative going over what they might put in at Epic Universe. Like seeing what monsters will go or what effects they want to do or kind of like what style or theming that they would want to do.
Okay.
I could see that. I could see the next couple of years of Universal monsters being used in Halloween Horror Nights to try to as a testing ground. I think that's pretty calm. We could see it happen. I don't think that's too hot of a take.
No,
No,
I don't think so. I think it's
Yeah.
but it'll get you points if it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get
so-
your point. Yeah, it's hot
Yeah, I was
enough
kind of going for
Yeah.
that. Very well could happen. I would love to see something like that.
All right. My number 7 is predicting another IP maze that I think, if I had to guess, we'll see it. It's one of my favorite horror movies of recent memory, and that is we will get. It has a sequel coming out next year. We will be getting a Quiet Place maze in HHN30.
Oh,
I think we will.
Wow.
I really want it to happen, and I think timing. Quiet Place comes out in March. I think it will be a huge hit, bigger than the first one, and I think maybe the momentum will lead to we get a Quiet Place house,
Okay. That would
Oh
be nice.
my
I'd like
goodness.
that.
maybe through both movies.
I would
So how
definitely-
do you think they would pull off something like that? Because you can't just have, teenagers going through the line and yelling, something like that. Do you think they would pulse people through?
I
Or
think
something like
maybe
that?
we do some sort of. We've seen like auditory club thing where they hand out headphones. Like we've
Okay,
seen like
yeah.
silent clubs type of thing. Maybe it's some sort of auditory thing where they hand you headphones and you go through something. Maybe something where noise is definitely used.
Oh,
Or the lack of noise where you put on headphones so it feels like there's no noise in the space.
or they figure out like a noise suppression system where there's just a
Right.
constant white noise in the background doing that.
Yes.
Huh. Oh, that would be cool.
Or maybe like if you scream, the scream triggers boo holes and triggers
Okay.
things.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine something like that?
That would be very impressive
If they could pull that off, yeah.
That would be very awesome. Maybe you're told try to be as quiet as possible before you go in.
Yeah.
That would be.
The thing is, like, you're going to get people to try to get it to scream the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like people that try to fish for, and I just found this out, and tell me if I'm wrong or not, trying to fish for murders, where they add someone to their party, like, hey, can I join you guys? And then they get grabbed and taken away during the maze.
Wait, what?
What are you talking about?
So somebody told me, so I don't know if this is real or not, but this guy was telling me at this bar, it was like, yeah, I was at Horror Nights, and I got in there, and then I knew exactly what was happening because, like, this girl came up and was like, I got separated from my party, can I go with y'all? And they were like, yeah, just stay with us. And they're going through, and then she's, like, screaming at every scare, and until she gets to a point where, like, a scare actor grabs her, because she's an actor as well, grabs her, and then, like, they just start knifing her in the line.
I have never seen or heard of this.
Yeah, it was called, like, getting a murder scene or something
Are
like
you
that.
sure this was at Halloween Horror Nights and he wasn't talking about any other local haunt?
I think he was referring to Horror Night, but I am not 100% sure. That's a cool concept.
It
though.
is.
But,
It is.
but I don't know
heard
if it
of
was
things like
that-
this happening at local haunts, not here in Orlando necessarily, but I've heard this type of thing
Where they put
been
in an actor.
putting
Yeah.
a plant into
Okay.
your group. I have heard of that happening.
Okay.
So Who's next? That was my 7. Duffy, you have 8?
I do. I think I'm going to go with. There's going to be a classic monster scare zone.
Okay.
Next year.
Ooh, yeah, I could definitely see that.
I don't think we have seen the end of Classic Monsters run, which is just a year on this coast, but I think we see it as a scare zone.
No, do we see the Classic Monster Scare Zone from Japan and all of its technology brought over here? I would love that. Or maybe am I just being a dreamer?
I think so.
That would kind of, if that happens, that's a combination of like my guess and your guess.
That would be absolutely amazing if we saw it.
That would be so cool.
Or do we see the black and white Classic Monster Scare Zone again?
I think I think we see their current style. You know how they have the updated style right now? I think that's what we see.
Okay. They don't do like the black and white thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, Nico, you're 8.
I am predicting that Universal will be doing a special Splash and Scream hotel package, where you would get either you buy a ticket to Horror Nights, and then you get a discounted ticket or part of a package for Volcano Bay, included with your hotel stay. So you stay at the hotel, you do Volcano Bay, and you do that, and those are like the 2 tickets that you get for there. I think that would be good to like attract locals in to try to get them to experience Volcano Bay and stuff like that, because I think when the attendance reports come out this summer, I don't think Volcano Bay will have an increase in guests. If anything, I think it might be a decrease.
So your prediction is they will use the term Splash and Scream?
Yes, they will use that term Splash and Scream because it's fantastic. All
right,
Splash and Scream.
Okay,
we might see that.
Stay at the Endless Summer Resort Hotel for Splash and Scream.
Okay.
I just think, or that's really what I hope something like that is going to be called for that. That's really kind of like why it's a hot take. I don't really see like Universal selling packages very often. I mean, I don't know like through them directly, because just being an annual pass holder, you never really look at packages much anymore. But we'll see what happens with that.
Okay. I mean, good marketing.
Yeah, Splash and Scream. Yeah, and be able to get people to go to Volcano Bay, because I mean it. Like what? I was sweating today, and it's last weekend of October.
It's true.
All right. My number 8 is HHN30 will mark the full-fledged return of the opening ceremony. Ooh. We will finally see. This year we got a little bit of one, right? It was just kind of an announcement. I didn't really feature a ton of characters there, right? I've never seen this opening ceremony.
It's just the Anarcade.
It's just the Anarcade characters, and then an opening announcement. I think we will get a full-fledged return of the opening ceremony, featuring whatever icon or icons that of the year. So if it's my Pennywise prediction, we may see Pennywise. If it's all the icons returning, we might see all the icons. I'm kind of hedging my bets on both of those. Yes, I think we're going to see a full-fledged opening ceremony like the years past.
Okay.
At least I'm hoping.
Well, this is actually my 10th, by the way, so I must have skipped in one too many times. But I'll go with it anyways. And it's a little generic, so kind of take what part of it you want.
Okay, that's what I've been doing. I've been kind of making...
Yeah.
I think there's going to be enhanced food, and by that I mean like they're going to take items directly from movies, rather than like, this year they have Hawkins Heroes and everything in Starport Mall. None of those are items from the movie directly. I think we're gonna see food items.
Is there something specific that they order from Scoops Ahoy? Or is there a specific item from
names
there?
we heard, but I don't remember.
Okay.
But like we'll say, I'm gonna use this one because you brought up Jurassic Park earlier, and if it happens, it would be hilarious if they had the Jello.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or, stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
So I think one of the properties we will see direct food items right out of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so some food item that was literally featured in the movie will make it as a featured item in Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I can definitely see something like that happening.
But yeah, I could potentially see it.
Yeah.
Nico, what is you have 2 more left?
I have 2 more left. So my number 9 is we're going to see an original Jordan Peele house coming.
An original
Jordan Peele house. And it's going to be a comedy house, and it's going to feature his comedic partner, Keegan-Michael Key.
What?
Yeah, I think like through like some like screen base or some technology like that, or some narration from him, I think we'll see a Key and Peele house.
All right, I like this.
Just because I think Us has been so well received, and with that, and with him being like a new horror genre and being dark comedies, from what I understand, they're dark comedies.
So maybe like From the Minds of Jordan Peele.
Yeah, From the Minds of Jordan Peele.
So maybe that would be the name of the house.
And then I could see like Keegan-Michael Key like being in there for that. And I
so it's
hoping
kind of
something
like
that.
My Twilight Zone prediction.
Yeah.
But without using the Twilight Zone
IP. Yeah, I think that would get stuck in there. But from the like you said, from the minds, because they love using that term for all that stuff.
Okay. We've seen it before. Well, we've seen we've seen like Penn and Teller nuked Vegas, which was kind of from the minds of Penn and Teller.
I mean, Rob Zombie.
Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie.
There was a Penn and Teller house?
There was.
It
No way.
It wasn't my favorite person.
It was it was a 3D house. It was a 3D.
Oh, man.
It was
Did you
basically...
Was Ben Gillette yelling at you the whole time?
No.
He's a fan of he's a fan of the Florida Turnpike.
I'm pretty sure he was in it. They were both in it, featured.
That's a
couple
good joke,
times.
by the way.
Sure.
Okay, so let's keep on moving.
What's your number 9, Mike?
My number 9 is, I think it's not that very out there. I will say, HHN30 will see the return of Ghostbusters. I believe it is perfect timing for the new Ghostbusters movie.
Okay.
We will see Ghostbusters was a huge hit here. I think we'll definitely maybe see Ghostbusters 2 or something about we're seeing Ghostbusters come back in some sort of way. Maybe a Ghostbusters show. If Bill and Ted comes back, does it count if Ghostbusters are featured in there?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
So I would say...
When you say featured, part of the story? Or do you say, like, just in it whatsoever?
I would say Scare Zone house or featured in a show.
Okay. We'll go with it.
That would definitely fit in with the 30th thing.
But I predict a house. But that's not part of my... I went a little generic on this one. I'll say we'll see the return of Ghostbusters.
Okay.
To put a hat on that one, I would say that we're going to see Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head Vodka, a special Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head Vodka coming to the parks, if we see that again.
Do we see a Crystal Head Vodka, house?
House.
It's
Yeah.
like all around
Crystal Head. You have to go through the Merkimer Diamonds to go through.
Let's do it. It's going to happen.
We're going to quadruple filter you.
It's kind of like my favorite house, Saws and Steam Into the Machine. Where you're like... That's what they did.
Basically.
That's basically the plot of it. Like they triple distilled them. You went,
Yes, this is true. I mean,
there's going to be no glycol in it. No glycol, no sugar.
That's coming. That house is coming as a history segment one of these days, sooner than later. Saws and Steam is my favorite house, and I will definitely talk about it in length soon. All right, so you have one more.
I do have one more. And this is also a ride overlay, but this is one that I think might have the most possibility of happening. We get a special Jimmy Fallon Hollywood Halloween experience with an appearance by David S. Pumpkins. It's so bad that it could happen.
Oh no.
All you have to do is flip the switch.
To be fair, I think this is more likely than Fast and Furious getting an overlay.
Yes. It's more likely than the porn house that he predicts.
So I got Porn House, I got Fast and Furious, and I got David S. Pumpkins. What more do you want?
All right.
I really think,
okay.
but come on, all they have to do is flip the switch. I know Fallon would definitely be down for doing something like that. If Universal Creative approached them and were able to do that, of course. And of course, Lorne Michaels is the producer of his show, and he's also the producer of Saturday Night Live, and he's like NBC's little butt boy. It's all going to work out for
So was Jimmy Fallon ride open this? I don't think it's not ride that's normally open.
You go through the queue.
You go through the queue. I don't believe Jimmy Fallon is a ride that's normally open during Halloween Horror Nights. So you would have to predict that they make it as one.
Correct.
And then they make a Halloween overlay. I could possibly see it.
Halloween overlay could happen.
I could possibly see it. It's not an unheard of.
Will it be good?
Again, they don't normally touch
Who
the
knows?
rides. They kind of.
But that would be something new. Like that would be something to be completely new, and I think that would help spread out crowds more too. Be like, oh wait, I don't get to experience the same ride all the time. Maybe I'll do this instead. You know, for like annual pass holders, I think doing a special ride overlay will be good because think how popular the Mickey's Not So Scaries are now.
Yeah,
With doing their
I see what
ride
you
overlays.
mean.
You know, it's like trying to get people to return visitors. And I think Universal wants people to buy the frequent fear passes. They price them right at the price point where they want you to buy that because they know when you come, they know you're going to buy something almost every single night you go.
I do agree with that. I agree with that.
So I think a ride overlay would be the best way to sell something like that because that will get the annual pass holders, especially the premium annual pass holders, to go more than one time and buy the frequent.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I think it would be clever on their part. I'm just not confident that will happen.
All right. So there is one more, and that is mine. My 10th is the one that I think I want to see the most happen. I don't know if it's as likely as some of my others, but this is the one I still want to see that happen the most. HHN30 will see the return of Ascension Parish Cemetery, most likely in a tribute house.
Oh, okay.
What was this?
That is Graveyard.
Graveyard Games setting, Ascension Parish Cemetery. I see it returns potentially. I know in 30, in 25, they've had like tribute houses where they have little scenes of their most popular houses of the years. I believe if that happens, Graveyard Games is going to be featured.
I could definitely see that.
I would say Ascension Parish Cemetery will be featured. Or maybe we see Ascension's Parish Cemetery Scare Zone, potentially in the Central Park area. I could see that overlay could go pretty well. Maybe Graveyard Games comes back as a Scare Zone. But yeah, I think Ascension Parish Cemetery is coming back.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Awesome.
And like we'll probably see, like you were saying, they bring back Shady Brook. The sanitarium has
Yes.
been in many houses. It was
Yes.
part of 25.
Yes.
I think I could see that. I don't think that's too far fetched there.
Could we see a return of a Fathom Corp?
Probably not, but I mean it's possible.
You could.
It's-
You could.
I think it is very possible to see it
Fathom.
labeled, like a small detail.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
But I
cool.
think it's more likely we'll see Graveyard Games coming back if we're doing a tribute house.
Yeah,
I think
I-
they're going to pick just one house from 29. And I think if they pick one, it's gonna. And they usually be an original house. I think it would be it would be Graveyard Games.
I agree. I think that's most likely, and I don't think that's very unlikely in general. So
Yeah.
Alrighty, well that is all of our hot takes.
Yes.
Did anyone's top 10 change?
mine has not.
No.
Mine's
Okay,
pretty
mine
much
hasn't
the
either.
same.
We're going to not go through our top 10s, and we're going to save it for one last time for next week, which is our final top 10. So we're just going to basically wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, just for fun, everyone pick the hottest hot take from the other hosts.
Okay, I like that. So the one, like, what do you mean by hottest? Like the
So I'll
most
start.
outlandish,
I'll
or
start
the
right
one?
up. So your choice. So I'm gonna go the hottest hot take, not because I think it's the most unlikely, but because it's quite literally the hottest hot take. Your porno house there.
Right.
All right. Yeah,
I
that's
think
that's
that,
fair.
that is the hottest hot take of the night.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. That's why it's here.
So maybe do we pick? Let's do this. Let's pick each of the favorites of each two, and then pick the most outlandish, the one that you think just will never happen of each two.
Okay. All right.
So Duff, you go first.
Well,
You picked one, yeah, already.
I
Well,
picked
t-
that one.
That was the
technically-
most outlandish.
Well, I don't think that was also the. Sure, that's most outlandish, so we'll stick with that. I'd say my favorite from Nico. You know what? I'm going to take time to think about yours, so I'm going to go to you, Mike. I think the most likely from you is going to be. I'm going to say it. That's the most likely on your end. Your most outlandish.
Mike's most outlandish house. What was his? His were really good.
Yeah.
Like they all seemed like they were
I don't.
pretty
You
on
didn't have
point
one
there.
that was like crazy out there.
I mean, I did predict Donald Trump would be impeached.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that crazy either, to be honest.
And because they would definitely... Yeah. Oh, man. What was my...
Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Black Sabbath one just because it's so specific.
Yeah, it is very.
Okay, yeah, that's probably gonna be the easiest one out of all of his.
I think the most likely for you, Nico.
Mine's a little bit easier.
Is it?
It's Scoops Ahoy.
I said Stranger Things isn't coming back.
Okay, yeah,
So
that
I stick with that.
I think won't come true. That and your attendance.
Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna change up what you said a little bit. Your Splash and Scream. I think there will be some sort of ticket package that includes maybe Volcano Bay and the parks more than we see this year.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Mine, Nico, I think you're most probably most likely. I definitely we'll see Universal Monsters probably. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be for the purpose of like test and adjust for because the 2023 is a far way away. But I do think Universal Monsters are probably going to be featured. If you have a year as big as 30, I think Universal Monsters is going to be featured. So
yeah, okay.
Does that tick his box? Because it's hard to. I don't think we're going to get definitive proof that the reason why they're doing Universal Monsters is test and adjust. That will never be released. So does Universal Monsters come back, he gets a point here.
Yeah,
we all kind of said it. Too.
Yeah, I said Scare Zone specifically.
Okay,
but
I said House. So
there it is.
Okay,
yeah,
okay. So you think
I said
Universal
House,
Monster House? Okay, they're different enough. And yeah, I had a honorable mention of a one, but it was not real.
Yeah, and like I completely agree with you that Ghostbusters will return in some sort of fashion. That's probably the most that's the one I think most likely will happen.
And my most outlandish.
Your most outlandish. Dang. You know what? I think it could be the Mike Pence one. Really. Just
fair enough.
It's just gonna drag its feet. It's gonna drag, and unless something happens right then, I don't know if Universal Creative would be able to do something that quickly. But you never know. Did Bill and Ted? I never saw Bill and Ted, so go ahead and hate me now. But was it like pretty recent? Like, did they change the show as it went on? Like, during the season.
They do, yes. They will.
So like, if
there's a big thing in pop culture, they will add it into the show.
Yeah. So like, say if a celebrity dies, they'll make like a joke, like a Bill Paxton joke or something like that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then yours, Duff. I think the most likely. Can I see your list again real quick?
Yeah.
I think that's easy.
I think Candyman is most likely. I think that's probably is going to happen. The most outlandish, I would say, food directly from a movie. Mm-hmm. I think I can't put my finger on where that would be. So I'm gonna put I can't think of anything right now. There's like a really famous food item from a horror movie that will be featured, other than like the waffle. We did get kind of the waffles in Stranger Things.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, they
didn't just give us waffles. They used
Never
it.
know.
But I will stick. I'm only gonna get points if it is a direct dish.
A direct dish,
not something like we put waffles in this because 11.
So
it's gonna be direct.
So, like, if fried green tomatoes somehow had a
this is correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
or a tossed salad and scrambled eggs, a Frasier dish.
Yeah.
Sure.
A big salad from Seinfeld.
What if they get like celebrity chef binging with Babish to come in and do like that, because that would fit in with yours there, and that would get the teen crowd going.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Think about that. Like how many millions? I think he has over 7 million subscribers. So he has a pretty wide audience, and if they had like a binging with Babish thing there, they could definitely do what you're saying.
That would work.
Yeah, that could work. I could see that, and that would be for the 30th. There you go. They could have something special at the Today Show Cafe. Yeah, they could have like spooky names, like Al Croker. Make something like that would be funny.
That's not quite what will give me points, but
okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. I think next week it's the end of Halloween Horror Nights 29. I think we're going to do a big probably wrapping up show. We're probably going to have some call-ins. That's definitely, I think, we've been talking about doing a call-in. I think it fits perfectly there. So next week we're going to try to have as many guests as possible. So if you'd like to be on the show, reach out to us. And that's what's coming up next week.
Yeah, definitely. Nico, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
He's not a new co-host. He's actually still a guest.
He's going to be around a lot.
He's going to be around a lot. He's going to be a frequent guest.
He adds a very fun perspective that I think that we like on there. We like the newbie. We like...
What happens after a few years and he's done it a while?
Yeah.
Then we just kick him to the curb?
We won't get Pornhouse predictions.
Yeah, you won't get a Pornhouse prediction this year.
He's
Or
like,
David S. Pumpkins coming there. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. That's WHTKNKL NIKO. That's at WHTKNKL NIKO. And then you can also follow Duff at
HHN365. The one you gotta follow me at.
Right, which is both of our
Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow them. They post the best memes for Halloween Horror Nights, so make sure you definitely check them out if you want the freshest Halloween Horror Nights memes, because they do a dang good job with making that.
That's so sweet, Nico. Thank you.
No, it's really good. That Post Malone meme is so damn funny. I love it so
You're welcome,
much.
world.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the streets.